God bless you.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming this evening. We're excited to have Sydney Sherman back with us for a talk on the history of Reiki. So thank you very much for coming back. And of course we have Peggy. Peggy, what's your last name?
Gay. Yes, I'm gay.
No,
No.
her last name is Gay, G-A-Y, yes.
Oh, okay.
You're
Well,
Peggy,
Peggy Gay,
you're
and-
very muffled.
Yeah, okay.
And so
Sorry.
she works with Sydney, and she's also going to be presenting as well. So I'd like to welcome you both back. Thank you very much for doing this for the library again. And so without further ado, I guess I'll turn it over to you, and we'll go from there. And then I guess we should probably have the presentations and then some questions afterward, if that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So we'll save the questions for the end. And this is being streamed live on Facebook, so anyone that doesn't, I mean, you can turn off your video if you want, or maybe during the presentation, just mute yourself, just in case. I know sometimes sounds can carry, or, the dogs bark or the cats meow or whatever happens. It all happens. So without further ado, thank you, Sydney. So I'll let you take it over.
Thank you, Cynthia, and thank you once again for having me back at the Hageman Library. Probably the last time via Zoom, because I'm back. So, well, not back yet, but I'll be back. I'm not sure, I can't see everybody's face in the background there, so hopefully you can help me, Cynthia. How many people have been to any of my presentations before? That helps me a little bit to know where you're at with knowing about me. So I can't see anybody in the background. So I know Sandy has.
Three more people.
Okay, Claire, 4 has. Claire is giving me a thumbs up. Sheila or Kim or Kelly, if any of you, I don't know who the phone number is, can let me know. There we go. I can see everybody. Hi. Okay, so for the 4 of you who have seen me before, you've heard my backstory before. For those of you who haven't, I'm going to give a very short, because I want to get really right into the Zoom. I'm going to give you a very short background on me because I think it helps you understand a little bit about where my information is coming from and why I do what I do and why I think the subject, along with others that I give presentations on, is just as important. So I was raised in Milford, and so was Sandy. And I was one of 4 kids, and normal things in the 60s that you do. I can't tell your ages back there and anybody who's listening, but the normal things that we did back in the 60s, the car rides, the ballet, the dance recitals and softball and all that stuff that we weren't, tethered to our phones, and we weren't tethered to our TV playing Nintendo. So it was, outside, get out in nature and come back when mom calls in for dinner. I'm sure you all remember that. My family was pretty normal. Sandy, don't laugh. My family was pretty normal. She's laughing. Anyway, we really were. You would never notice anything different about my family than any other family. My life has revolved around energy, and energy is huge to what we're going to talk about tonight. So just to give you a little bit of a background, most of you that know me know I usually talk about paranormal stuff, even though I hate that word. People know that to represent, the afterlife. The paranormal is a strange word because it just means anything outside the normal. So if I have cornflakes for breakfast every morning and tomorrow I have a waffle, that's paranormal. So, I don't like using words, but I am known mostly for discussing the afterlife, how you can connect with your loved ones who have passed, why they're still here. So that's what I'm best known for. This subject is also tied to that because you can't talk about energy or Reiki with also not talking about our life and our physical beings and our beings as we pass. So it's going to be kind of like a back and forth. I'm going to go back into some things that have to do with the afterlife, and then I'm going to come back to Reiki and try to tie it together for you. So my pop-up, who's on the cover of my first book, let's pop up right there. He was very huge. It says, "You are not alone. Our loved ones are here. You're just not listening." I know the library has a cover copy if you haven't read it before. But my grandfather was born on the Penobscot Reservation, and he stayed there till he was 22 years old. And everything with them, with many cultures that are not from the Western society, are about holistic things or seeing things and using things in nature, understanding energy or our environment or universal properties. It's just us in the Western society that got a little sidetracked. So my grandfather grew up very holistic, eating things right from nature, eating herbs in the ground, picking up dandelions and using things like that. And that's pretty much a lot was, tethered down to me as well, through my grandfather. My grandfather used to also do a lot of holistic healing. I didn't really realize when I heard the term Reiki that basically that is what he was doing. I mean, we hear Reiki, but we're not Japanese, so we don't really know the term. But my grandfather did do a lot of hands healing, hands touching, using herbal remedies and things like that. So I adopted his feelings toward the subject, his practices, and his belief. I thought Reiki would be different for me than what I've already known, but it really isn't. As I said, Reiki is all about energy and how to do many, many things with energy. See our loved ones, feel the energy around us, heal ourselves, see our auras, and obviously heal ourselves and others. So it really is tied together. I really had to get past the word Reiki. So, we're going to discuss that. What is Reiki? Well, Reiki basically is your energy. And your energy is your aura. So if you ever heard anybody say your aura, that is your energy field. That's all it is. It's extremely scientific. Scientists have known about our auras since 1745. So it's not a new topic. All it is that the energy that comes off of you from your process of your body biologically working, all your organs, it creates an energy field around you, and that is your aura. So again, no big deal, nothing scary. And you can't talk about this without also encompassing the dead. So what I usually do is tell you that if you haven't seen me before, my feeling on death, which is supported by science and has been for well over 120 years, is that our energy was here before we were born with our physical selves. This is our physical selves. This is time stamped. This will only last so long. This can get cancer and diabetes and cuts and bruises. This is your energy, but this is how we are all the time, as we are right now. At the time of our death, there's a separation, once again, of our physical self, our carcass, in the ground or cremated or whatever your choice happens to be, but we're still here. This is energy. Energy is who we truly, truly are. Energy surrounds us. Energy is in our universe. It's in our atmosphere. It's in our trees. It's in the grass, it's in the leaves, it's in the caterpillars and the bees and the butterflies and the birds. It's in the soil. It is all around us, energy. So we intermingle with energy all the time, and our body reacts to this energy depending on the source in different ways. So the way our energy reacts to, say, the energy of our loved one who's passed away versus how our energy responds when we're healing or getting healed, like say in a Reiki session or doing Reiki or healing ourselves, it's different, but it's still the same process. Energy is healing the energy. And I want this, you're going to hear me say this several times tonight. Like likes like. For those of you who don't know, if you ever heard of Neil deGrasse Tyson, famous astrophysicist, this is, I can never say that, Peggy, it's going to just drive me crazy. Famous astrophysicist, they've been saying it for at least the last 20 years, something that my pop-up knew and used to tell me when I was a child. Every element that is in our solar system, in our universe, that makes up the stars and the planets and everything else like that, is in us. The calcium and the phosphorus and the nitrates, the magnesium, it's all there. It's also all in here. So, the old fashioned song from the 40s, the, Stardust, well, we really are stardust. And we really are that connected with the universe, everything contained in the universe, everything on the planet, each other, and every other living thing. Now, a differentiation is this water bottle, this actual plastic, this is not energy. The water inside it is. So there are things that we can interact with that also have energy, and then there's things that there's no way we're going to interact with other than to hold the plastic in my hand and use it as a reservoir to drink. So knowing about energy, understanding energy, how you can influence it and how it influences you every single day is huge. And that is what Reiki is. And it's very, very powerful. So Reiki is energy in your aura. And it's something that actually has been done in many, many cultures since the beginning of time. We're just discussing it using the Japanese term Reiki. So I wanted to review something very quickly before I get actually into the Reiki part. Does anybody remember the law of conservation of energy? Just say yes. No. How about energy cannot be created or destroyed? Remember that from school? All right, that was our friend Einstein. And he actually developed that theory. And when he developed that, thank you, Claire. And when he developed that theory, he went to his fellow scientists and he presented it. And they're like, dude, I don't know if they called him dude, but anyway, said, dude, you just discovered the reason, the scientific rationale that supports the afterlife. No, I didn't. You know, you're dead, you're gone, the ants get you in the ground, that's it. He didn't believe that his own theory supported that until he actually died. He had an abdominal aorta aneurysm, it ruptured, and he died. And a doctor, no kidding, go to your local library, ladies, you're sitting there right now, look it up in the books about him. I know they have in the library. The doctor actually used cellophane tape to hurry up and get him, you know, from hemorrhaging out. And he came back to life, basically. As his son was taking notes for him as he lays in the bed, he's explaining to his son everything that he saw, everything he felt, how he was here and he was there and he was everywhere, how he saw the future, he saw now, and he saw the past. And he was every place at one time with everyone from all time, is what he said. So he finally believed in the afterlife. It took him to die to do that. Now, as the story goes, the doctor said, look, dude, I just used cellophane on you. Got to get back in there and like fix you up. And he said, no, he refused the surgery. And sure enough, it ruptured again and he died. So, I mean, smart, brilliant man, but not so much. The reason why that story is important is if you know about the law of conservation of energy, you need to understand that to understand how your body works. And so it's energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if we are energy beings, which we are, every biologist and theorist and physiologist agree, and they have for decades, that we are energy beings. If energy cannot be created and it can't be destroyed, then technically we've always been here and we don't leave. So that is the theory for the afterlife. And again, I go into it in more depth in other programs that I do. But I want you to see the correlation of what we're talking about as energy, our unending energy that has been here forever and will continue to be here forever. That energy will influence us before we were here, influences us while we're here, and will influence us in our abilities once we pass. But we don't go anywhere. We're still here interacting with our loved ones. So as you ladies are all sitting there in the library, or everybody's sitting there at home, yes, your loved ones are standing all around just to say, hey. All right. So why was I interested in Reiki? Well, I just wanted to honestly feel a little bit about it. And I'm going to tell you a very, very quick story about Reiki. I believe what I believe, and I know it to be true. And Peggy can tell you, I don't want anybody arguing with me about it. There's certain things I know, and I know it, and leave me alone. I don't know how to cook, clean, or balance a checkbook, so that you can argue with me about. When it comes to this topic, forget about it. However, I don't give people the same respect, unfortunately. I worked at a facility where this lady came up to me. She goes, oh, I'm a Reiki master. And I'm like, well, whoop-de-doo for you. Because I didn't understand it. Let me do Reiki on you. I said, yeah, no, I don't get into that like voodoo stuff. Just, leave me alone. Until, one day I'm sitting in my office. I was a director of nursing for many years. And I was sitting in my office. It was very early in the morning. I came in and I just, hopefully there's all ladies on here, but it was that time of the month, if that tells anybody. I was in a lot of pain and I never had a good time with that. It was horribly painful for me. So she walks into my office seeing the light on. She still has her coat on. She doesn't know why I'm there, but she says, please let me give you Reiki. And I said, fine, you know what? You go right ahead. You figure it out. So I could be a jerk. Anyway, so here I am sitting in my chair and she's doing this weird thing with her hands. I'm like, oh, this is awesome, right? Nice and weird. And all of a sudden she focuses on my belly. She takes her hand and puts it against my lower back, like makes a sandwich, and puts her hand on the front, lower, over my lower abdomen. And I felt this heat coming off that was incredible, like a nice heating blanket. It was wonderful. And then all of a sudden, the pain went away. the massive, felt like I just went and it went away. So of course, now I had to know about this Reiki. So what I learned, like I said, was it's actually something I already knew. It's just a different term because it's Japanese. And you'll hear me say over and over and over again, don't get hung up on the words that the Japanese use because you're not Japanese. I mean, I'm assuming I can't really see all you. So, but I want to do for that, for a greater understanding of energy, because that's always my quest, but I also want to understand about healing and how to use it for healing. So I'm going to start on my PowerPoint. And if I can get this thing to open up here, let's hope it works. Share screen. And I think I want this one. And Peggy is going to tell me if everybody can see it. Where'd it go? What is that? Oh,
That's the whole screen.
yeah. Okay. I had to get that out of the way. Okay. So there we go. Oh, give it a minute. It says there we go. Everybody see that?
Yep, it's there.
All right. So the history of Reiki. So the definition of Reiki, we're going to talk about, but first, I really just want to break the word down, make it easier. Again, don't get hung up on the words. They're Japanese. We don't speak Japanese. So Rei means universal spirit. Okay. So for us, it would be our energy, right? Our universal spirit. That's what they call it. Ki is vital or healing energy. So basically what it is your universal spirit, your universal energy that we all have has healing energy. So you're using your universal healing or your universal spirit or energy to heal. That's all the word means. I mean, a lot of people get hung up on it, but there's really no need to. So the actual history of Reiki is using Reiki to heal with energy. And many cultures have used energy to heal. Reiki is not a new technique. The Aztecs, the Inuits, the Eskimos, Greeks, Tibetans, and Native Americans, and others all used a method of healing with hands or healing with light. My grandfather also used alternative medicines, including plants, meditation, smoking, and I mean smoking as in like people say smudging, energy, and koya, which I had to ask my father how to say that. And I wrote it phonetically, and I may have it spelled wrong, but he spelled it for me. And koya means healing hands and in Indian. So that's what my grandfather used. So how it all began? Well, like we really need to start with the man himself. And this is a picture of Dr. Mikio Usui. And you'll be hearing me talk about him a lot. He was the founder of what we know to be Reiki. So a little history on him. Mikio Usui was born August 15th, 1865 in Japan, and he was the youngest of 5 children. His father was said to be very strict, but a loving man. And their mother, I have to get this out of the way, excuse me. And her mother was a kind, family, and devoted mother. Spiritually, the family practiced the common Shinto, closely related to Buddhism and Confucius, if you want to know or you're aware of that. And they were considered of moderate income and lived in a clean but modest house. They certainly were not a family of affluence at all. Dr. Usui was a man of many skills and degrees. He once wrote, "A mind that is not challenged is a challenged mind." And I actually have that in my office here above my window because I really like that. And it's so true if you think about it. If we don't challenge our mind and open our minds up to new and different things and knowledge all the time, then we seem to have trouble understanding things. And so I really like that he said that. I'd like to take it myself, but I can't. He received education in theology, natural sciences, medicine, philosophy, and math. His greatest interest was in the body's way to heal itself. He studied throughout Japan and Tibet and enthralled himself in the physical aspects of energy. So he had what we consider, some people say, the Moses experience. So at the age of 34, Usui lived with the Tibetan monks in a search for many answers. He was looking for his own enlightenment and felt he was not where he should be. He set out to climb Mount Kuruma or to find his answers. There he stayed for 12 days in meditation without food or water. I think we kind of, people say the Moses experience because it sounds like him going up on the mountain. It was during this time that he felt this wave and this deep vibration going through his body. And he says, "I felt my soul, body, and my breath as one." He described seeing his light and bubbles emitting from his body. Now, I found this to be very interesting because everybody can see auras or your energy field. Everybody can see it. You just have to know how to learn how to see it. But as I tell people when Peggy and I have our aura classes, What you're looking for is sometimes it might look like they're wrapped in bubble wrap or they're under a waterfall. What you're actually seeing is when you see energy emitting from them, it actually looks like little bubbles. So he was seeing his own light and the bubbles emitting from his body. Tired, hungry, and suffering from dehydration, he knew he would die soon. He wrote, I saw my impending death in the shadow of my energy as it rose from me. The reason why this is important too, and Peggy can tell you when she talks about pets, she'll talk about this.
At the
When we do Reiki,
Eigenman Library.
and I don't know if somebody has their mic on, but is somebody asking me a question? Okay. So when Peggy and I do Reiki, the first thing we do is we focus on these areas that look like they're not moving, that they're not keeping a good flow, or they look darkened, or they look weak. So what he's saying is, I saw my impending death in the shadow of my energy as it rose above me. Well, that's the same thing Reiki practitioners see when they're looking at their clients. They can see where the areas are that are not focused correctly. He saw a ray of light from the sky and used his hands to reach up and grab the light and brought it to his body. He regained strength and made the trek back to the monk's village. Hence, Reiki was born. And there's a lot more to the story, but I'm just giving you the general. So Usui was eager to share his newfound knowledge with everyone to prove the relationship between energy and self-healing. And he would soon get his chance. Tokyo had a cholera epidemic. Dr. Usui was also struck down with it as well. He first used the universal light to heal himself. And then he went from home to home to heal others afflicted using his hands healing, or healing with light energy. As the cholera epidemic spread, he had to teach others the technique and knowledge to help heal as many as possible and as quickly as possible. This was the beginning of the Sensei, which means teacher, teaching his students. As I'm not sure if I said this in the beginning, but Peggy and I are also Reiki masters, so we are teachers. So you don't feel the need to call us Sensei, because honestly, I don't like the term, but that's okay. But yes, we are both Reiki masters. As cholera spread outside his village and in other areas outside Tokyo, Dr. Usui discovered another use of energy, which allowed him to project Reiki or light energy to those in need through visualization. This is called long distance, and is known as Hojo Jijo Nen. Please don't get hung up on the words, but it basically just means distance, to view or visualize from a distance. Hojo Jijo Nen follows the Hermetic law of similarities, which means it states that we are all connected to the same energy. So through Hojo Jijo Nen, you can literally take your energy, your light, through the light around you that you have, and visualize it going into somebody who's not even with you or in your anywhere near you at all. And you can offer healing in that in distance Reiki. And also in distance Reiki, you can Reiki your past, your present, and your future. And again, I cover this a little bit later, so I'm not going to get into that right now, but it's actually quite cool. So in 1922, Dr. Miyukio Usui founded the Reiki Society called Usui Reiki Yohoro Hogaki. It's hard to say, but again, we're not Japanese. Now, with him, he brought on some students because, again, he had to start teaching people. So he got this, and I'm going to say his first name wrong, but it's Kurijo Hiyashi, who was a medical doctor who studied with Usui. He added the practice to Reiki of lying down during Reiki and the use of several practitioners providing Reiki at the same time. And originally, you were not laying down, you were sitting up. That's how Dr. Usui started the practice. He added the lying down and using several practitioners instead of the one. He kept the traditional knowledge and technique as his sensei, Dr. Usui. He practiced with honor. Just so you know, he was a wonderful man. There's a lot more about him. The history about him is probably just as exciting as Dr. Usui. He died by suicide, or what they call honorable death, when the Japanese military wanted him to work on weapons that would kill many people. He refused, and he had to go into hiding with his family. And so he decided to take his own life and die an honorable death than be captured by them to be forced to work on these weapons that would kill people. Now, as you notice, Mrs. Hawayo Takada, you see her face and you see her name, but I'm not going to say anything about her other than the fact that Mrs. Takada decided to take traditional Reiki and make it a business, a very affluent business. Dr. Usui founded Reiki, and his feeling was everybody can give Reiki. Everybody should learn to heal. Everybody should be able to do this, take advantage of it because it's free. Okay. And that's what he taught everybody. And Miss Takata did not feel that way. She felt, and she wrote, that only special people could give Reiki. Only people of affluence and means, and only people with higher education, because they'd be the only ones to understand it. When the traditional Dr. Usui Reiki started with the training, there was a nominal fee that was paid to take the classes so you can get certified or be able to be a practitioner. And I mean a nominal fee. It really went by what people could afford. And the reason for that was because people, unfortunately or fortunately, value that what they have to pay for more. So he wanted to make sure people were dedicated to doing this. So let's just say back then, and I'm going to guess back then, but let's just say he charged $20 for the Reiki certification for Reiki 1, a Reiki 1 level practitioner. She was charging $5,000 for Reiki 1. For Reiki 2, she was charging $10,000. For Reiki 3, which is the master class, $50,000. And I am talking US dollars. Okay. So she completely monetized the whole thing. And when you see classes that are being taught out there at community centers or at high schools at night that have the what do you call it, the higher education at night classes, and you see advertisements for, come learn Reiki 1 and 2, get certified for Reiki 1 and 2 and a 3-hour class. That's a Mrs. Takata. You're not really going to get trained because she doesn't follow any of the traditional teachings. It's all about money with her. For Dr. Usui classes, the Reiki training for Reiki 1 is usually about 3.5 to 4 hours. And it's one class, and you are not allowed to even consider Reiki 2 until your sensei says it's okay. And that's usually a year and a half, because you've got to grow and you've got to learn. It's a very serious practice. It's a wonderful practice. So we don't like her. So we're going to move along. All right. So Dr. Mikio Usui died of a stroke on March 9th, 1926. He was truly the father, a teacher, a believer in enlightenment of what we now know of our ability and how our energy works, how our light can heal us and others. So Peggy's going to talk about give your pets some love. So I'm going to say something before I try to say, you know what, Peggy? Okay, Peggy has a PowerPoint also, but I don't know if I can interrupt mine to go to her. So I just thought you were going to talk on this. I didn't know about the PowerPoint. So we're going to come back to the pet. Okay, Peggy?
Yep.
All right, because I don't think I can interrupt this PowerPoint to go to. We'll do yours as soon as we're done
Probably
here.
not. Okay.
Okay, so Peggy's going to talk about pets. Pets are no different us. Pets are animal. They have energy just like us. And she's going to talk about the effects that sometimes, our stressors have on pets. So we're going to come back to that. So, look at this. So thank you for taking part in our presentation. If you have any questions, there is more to this. I'm just ending this PowerPoint. If you have any questions or would like to learn Reiki or have a Reiki session, please contact my emails there, SydneyShermanAuthor@yahoo.com or Reiki by Peggy @outlook.com. Peggy's going to put this up in the chat. So you have these. And I think now I can stop sharing and hopefully I can go, hi, everybody. I can go to Peggy's. Let's see if I can do this.
I already put all the information in the chat.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, so let me move this over here so I can share this. All right. I need to get back to the first screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so Peggy, you want to take care of this one and just tell me when. I'll just click when you're done.
Okay. Specializing in energy alignment, healing through the use of Reiki, synthetic energy in both humans and animals. Are they
Peggy, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Everyone's having trouble hearing you.
All right, Peggy, you want me to just read? I'll just read it. Do you want me to read it, Peggy?
Yeah, I had to figure out what's going on with this mic.
All right, so this is Peggy's PowerPoint. Peggy is what I like to call the Dr. Doolittle of pets. We can both do pet Reiki, but pets just dissolve around her and they just seek her out and she's very good about giving pets Reiki, and she does a great job. So anyway, specializing in energy alignment and healing through the use of Reiki and empathetic energy in both humans and animals. So how Reiki helps our pets, from dogs, cats, small mammals to exotic fish or birds. You know, animals are highly intuitive and sensitive to the energies surrounding them, actually more than we are. I mean, they can see our loved ones who have passed much quicker than we can. Reiki is a healing energy that can be used alone or to help enhance other healing practices. It helps balance the energies, patterns, and strengths to the animal's natural healing properties. When the animal's healing is at peak performance, I can't see this because it's cut off. The animal's, the body, mind, and I can't see what it's.
In spirit.
Thank you.
Spirit can heal itself. Yeah.
I wonder if I can take this and move this. It's a screen of everybody's faces and it's oh wait, I can just move it up right there. Yes, the spirit can hear itself. Thank you. I just moved it. Now I have to move it around again. Okay. So just like we do, animals have 7 chakras, but the chakras are placed differently on the animal. As when I go over the human chakra, you'll see that, but they still have a crown, the brow, which is our third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. Now, when I talk a little while about, and I'll go back to chakras, I'll explain this a little bit more, but it is important that you understand what a chakra is. It's the same for a pet that it is for a person, but there are certain areas of the body where these chakras are more flowing. And those are the areas that usually can get damaged first, you know, for disease or stress or illness or things like that. So those are the places on the animal where they have the same chakras we do, they're just in different places. Regular sessions are recommended. Reiki can help animals by maintaining health. Health and well-being through regular sessions. It helps in aiding in pain management for animals who are ill or injured. Reiki for surgery. Reiki can also help in healing post-surgery. Pre-surgery Reiki can help with relaxation and stress. I actually had a friend of mine just recently who was bringing her pet to have something done with one of the common bile ducts in their stomach because I guess they'd eaten some plastic or whatever else. And she did Reiki on him to calm down because he just knew. He knew somehow, you know, pets know they're going to the vet and they just know when they freak out. And she used Reiki on him right up to the point where they, you know, stuck the IV in him and brought him behind the doors. And he was much more relaxed and calm. So new animals. Reiki is a great way to ease an animal's transition to a new home environment or to enhance training. My son has a dog, unfortunately, who was very badly beaten when he was a baby, and he's very, very skittish. And it took them a long time to get him to, you know, acclimate to them. And I taught my daughter-in-law how to do some Reiki on their pet. And the dog is doing much better. I mean, he's just more calm. He's connected to the house. He's connected to the family. Anxious. Oh, first of all, look at that picture of Peggy's puppy with her new grandchild and her hubby, Tim. Anxious or stressed pets. The #1 primary benefit in response to Reiki with animals is stress relief and deep relaxation. The calm space created by a Reiki practitioner's meditation invites the animal to join that relaxed environment. This can make Reiki an effective stress reliever for pets in high anxiety environments, be that a shelter setting or even at home with a new baby in the house. Now, and I'm going to say something about this because dogs, as we know, you know, we have to worry about any pets around animals babies, because we don't know how they're going to react. But obviously most pets, they become like caretakers and they will make sure they'll sniff the baby and things like that to become familiar. But they can also sense the stress when the baby's crying or the stress from the new parents for not sleeping. And so, you know, they need a little love too, because they're taking it all on and they don't have the ways of getting the stress off of them like we do. Sad time. Reiki can help bring peace and comfort to a dying pet by easing the transition into death. And that's absolutely. And I give Reiki to people as a nurse when they're getting ready also to transition at the end of their life. Please note, Reiki is not a substitute for taking your pet to the veterinarian. If your animal needs immediate assistance, please contact your veterinarian immediately. Contact info. Peggy's info is right there, but I think you said she put it down the bottom in the contact information. So if anybody's interested in getting pet Reiki for their puppies, kittens, parakeets, whatever it is, just give her a call. And I think I did that really well between the two. How do you like that? Okay, so I am done with the PowerPoint now. The main objective of Reiki is to use healing energy alone, or as Peggy said, with meditation. You actually have the power. All of you sitting right there have practiced Reiki, whether you know it or not. Anytime you've held somebody's hand or give somebody a hug, you've actually practiced a form of Reiki. It brings you back to a greater understanding of life. You can't learn Reiki and not have a greater understanding of your life or your presence here or the presence of those around you or your existence in this great environment that you're surrounded with every day. You know, it's only the last 20 years that the Western Medical Society has decided to do what everybody else has known, you know, since the beginning. So you are starting now, like I said, in the last 20 years, you are starting to see Reiki in hospitals and in maternity wards and med surg and psych and in rehabs, neonatal units and things like that. So it is growing. People are accepting it. Doctors are now. Before, I used to get laughed at when I tell them, you know, I have lupus, and they say, well, how are you doing so well with lupus? I say, why Reiki every day? And they used to laugh, and they don't laugh anymore because they do understand that what our ancestors actually used, what other cultures have used for since the beginning of time, actually works. And there's a reason behind it. So I'm glad for that. Peggy and I are thrilled that people are finally getting it. So what can happen if you don't understand energy? What can it lead to? So energy can, not understanding energy and the influences around you can lead to your damage to your aura or your energy field, along with other things that you already have going on around you. So let's just say that you're in an environment that you don't know is bad for you, but the energy is hitting your body, this bad negative energy. Maybe you're in a situation where you're in a room party full of people and you may feel uncomfortable and you may feel like something's not right. Your body's telling you something's not right, but you don't leave that situation for whatever reason. Or you're with somebody, a partner or a friend who wants to constantly put you down, or you have a health problem. If you don't recognize these things that are going on around you, it leads to more problems. And if you already are of advanced age, or if you have a poor diet or are constantly surrounded by stressors, or obviously predisposed by genetics, let's just say you have a history of interacting with people for relationships or anything like that who are just wrong for you. If you've gone through some traumatic life situations or life experiences or experience major loss, and actually just living, you know, all these things put stress on our life and all these things put stress on our body. Forget the fact of all the stuff that's going on around you and all the energy you're picking up from other people that's adding more stress. So not understanding your energy, not understanding about energy or your aura and how Reiki and things like that work really takes the ball out of your court. You really can't heal yourself because you're not understanding what's going on around you. And that's a shame. I think healing should be taught in schools all over the place. So we did do the pet Reiki, so I'm going to move on about that. Okay, so Reiki is about visualization and intention. So you see an area that needs to be healed. You can literally look at somebody once you have Reiki training, and you can literally see above them, floating above them, a certain area of their body, their whole bare body, all around their head. This very vague, non-moving thing. It can have a color to it. It can just look very stagnant. And what I want you to remember, because this is very important, energy never stops moving. It's required to move and flow. A healthy energy, a healthy aura moves constantly. When you start to have too much stress on you over the decades, you know, children problems, marital problems, job problems, taxes, the death of a parent, you know, bills, all this stuff that mounds and mounds and mounds, that energy can't have that nice flow anymore. It gets stuck. And what happens when it can't move anymore and it stops? It becomes stagnant. Think of it like a stream. Stream's moving along, it's moving along, and something slows the stream. And the water becomes still. And what happens? It becomes stagnant. It gets bacteria, funguses, diseases, pests. It's the same thing with your body. The energy has to flow. It's a living, viable thing. So when you're doing Reiki and you're visually looking at somebody and you can see the areas of them that are not healing well, you can visually look to those areas, but using your intention, which your intention is to make them feel better, to clear that area, to make that area whole, you are setting an intention. So if your intention is to heal, that's exactly what is going to happen. And that is huge. And people are like, well, that's you just saying that you're intending on doing it. Doesn't mean you're doing it. Your intention is huge. When you're making an intention in your mind that something's going to happen, it does a very weird thing to the pineal gland in the center of your brain. It makes you more able to succeed in what you're trying to do. So Reiki's big thing is visualization and intention. It's your intention to heal. It's your intention to understand what's going on around you, to see what's going on in your body, to feel what's going on in your body, your intention to be able to feel your loved ones who have passed away, to sense when your dog needs some comfort. It's a wonderful thing. So again, intention is huge and you can all do it. Oh, so let's talk about chakras. And again, please, let's not go nuts. As I said before, we got the cranial, you got the third eye for people, you got the throat, you got the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. Wow, people are like, that's crazy. I want you to understand, it's just organ systems. They call them chakras because they're Japanese. We call them organ systems. That's the only difference. So when people are like, well, I don't know what a chakra is, that sounds weird. Okay, well, do you know what your stomach is? Because it's the same thing. So let's talk about that for a minute. So you have your cranial up here, and this is your brain, but it really controls more of the cortex of your brain and the medulla, which is in the back. This part of your brain up here, the meninges all across the top, is for higher awareness and for insight. So that area is the first thing, especially for women, to get hit when you're dealing with constant trauma or constant stress, or if you're, in a bad relationship or a bad situation at work, or if you keep putting yourself in environmental places that are not good for you. So if those places, the higher awareness and the insight are not working, you get cloudy of thought, you get scattered, you feel like you can't understand things, you can't remember things. And that's how it starts to wean down on that nice flow. The third eye, they call it right here, right? You've seen that before. That controls the parietal, the temporal, the occipital lobe, and the frontal lobe. It also involves the pineal gland, the center of the brain. And why is that important? The third eye is your thought processing. It's your decision making. It's where your rationality comes from. So between the parietal, the temporal, and the occipital lobe and the frontal lobe in your brains, and then the pineal gland, if those aren't functioning well because of stress or because of conditions or other health issues, you are not going to have clarity of thought. You're not going to be able to have reasoning. You're not going to be able to make decisions. And honestly, you pretty much sit back after a while and you're just like, look, I'm not getting it. I'm understanding what's going on around me. So if those things get damaged, the flow isn't there. The flow is starting to close down because of many different reasons. Then you're definitely going to notice it. But this part of the brain right here, the third eye with the pineal gland, is so important. The pineal gland, for those of you who don't know, is called also the third eye. It's called the third eye for a reason, because what it does inside of our brain, it allows us to see and feel things that go outside of our normal vision. It allows us to comprehend and understand when we're being touched by another energy, our loved ones who have passed away or something else in the environment. To hear voices that you can't see where it's coming from, to see things that aren't there. This is the whole clarity part. The pineal gland is so important, but it's unfortunately one of the first things when we are stressed that goes or gets squashed and that flow stops. So keeping that open is huge. The throat, you got your esophagus, your thyroid, your parathyroid. It's more endocrine excreting. It's also part of your upper gastrointestinal system and your respiratory. So, imagine if this part is squashed. What the thing with the throat is throat is also frustration. And I see a lot of women when they come for Reiki that this right here, remember that flow I was telling you about? It's like, it's not moving. It's just completely dead stop. It's like nothing there. And that's frustration. That's what feeling like your voice isn't being heard, or people don't feel what you have to say is important, or your opinion doesn't matter. It's frustration. We hold it, especially women, right here. And so that's the throat chakra. And I love opening up somebody's throat chakra and seeing it moving again. And they can feel it right away. They say it feels like a little pop, and like they have to clear their throat, but then they feel like there's all this air coming in. And when I have my throat chakra open, I feel the same thing. The heart, obviously, cardiovascular and pulmonary, right? That's the organ system. So it's not, it's not like it's anything hard to think of. The solar plexus, that gets the name because that large muscle that goes across the abdomen. That's responsible for the majority of the GI tract, the gastrointestinal tract, which is the renal system, which is your kidneys, and your hepatic system, which is your liver and your gallbladder, spleen, pancreas. That's more exocrine. The other one was endocrine. You have to have that flow in there. You have to have the flow to bring things in and move them out. Think about your bile. Think about your digestive juices that are going on. You have to keep excreting these enzymes in order to make everything flow. If your pancreas and your bile duct are not excreting those digestive enzymes into your stomach, you're going to start having problems with your stomach, the lining of your stomach. All you have to do is have a little problem with your lining of your stomach, and it starts to work down through the beginning of your small intestine and the duodenum. And then just keeps on going, and you start having Crohn's, you start having things like colitis and diverticulitis and celiac disease and all these other things. There's a lot of books that doctors have written now, physiologists, biologists have written now, the direct correlation to our energy and the state of our disease. And think about the word disease. Dis-ease. Your body is in dis-ease. And that's exactly what is happening. So again, understanding your energy and how it has to keep flowing and the things that are around you that stop that flow is really important. So you can avoid those people, you can avoid those situations, or you can self-heal if you can't get yourself out of those situations. But they have found the direct correlation between our energy not being able to flow and the high increase in autoimmune disorders and other disorders that we never heard of in the past. It's all from stress, and it's all from our energy. The sacral, that's really where you're going to find most of the male and female reproductive organs. That's about life. That's about sustaining life. It's mostly the lower GI tract and the lower urinary tract. Your root is really between your legs. So, if you got your legs coming down like this, it really sits right in the bottom, just like your crown sits above the top. The root is, as my opinion and Dr. Sui's opinion, is the most important part. That's for balance, and it works with the occipital lobe in the back of your brain because that also works on balance. It ties your body to keep you balanced. Cephalocaudal, or head to toe. It tethers you. I want you to think of it this way. If somebody put a stake in your head and drove it all the way through you and came out between your legs and tethered you to Mother Earth, that's what keeps you balanced and not wobbly. If your root, for stress and other things that we talked about, is not functioning correctly, your body starts to wobble and it throws everything off. Your body is meant to stay in what's called homeostasis. In homeostasis, there's perfect natural order, a perfect balance. None of us got that because we all live life, but you can get close to it. I have lupus. My knowing about energy and doing Reiki did not stop me from getting lupus. But when 1991, when I was diagnosed with it, I was told by the time I was 50, I would be in a wheelchair. I am 60 now, and I exercise and I walk a treadmill and I'm running and I'm doing so. It's Reiki. I understand my energy. I understand the stressors behind me. I understand what stresses me. And I've learned to avoid and learn how to self-love, if you want to call it, or do self-healing. And the doctors, like I said, used to poo-poo me, and now they understand it completely. So the root is very, very important because of the fact that it requires the balance. It keeps you balanced. If your root, I have seen many, many women, and Peggy has too, in our decades, that when they lie on the table, you see all these other weird things going on with them in all these places, but all you see where their root is a hole, a non-moving hole, absent of color, absent of moving. And that's somebody who's just really completely like broken down in that area. That not only takes care of their balance and throws them off, but if your balance is off, your hormones are not going to be right. If your hormones are not going to be right, then your blood flow is not going to be right. And you're more apt to things that flow are supposed to flow, like your urine. You're apt to UTIs. And if it's your uterus, your female organs, you're more apt to endometriosis or cysts because the flow is gone. You can connect flow in your body to every organ that you have, has valves and has a flow. And it doesn't take much to stop that. So that's what Reiki and all these other healing things are about, is to keeping that flow going, to try to avoid things from either you getting things or trying to diminish their severity when you get them. So those are the chakras. Like I said, think of them as organ systems. So don't get hung up on the words. It's very scientific. Now, hand placements. If any of you have ever had Reiki, I'm sure you've seen hand placements, right? Reiki can be done visually. Like I said, you can visualize doing Reiki. Somebody works just as effectively. Some people choose to put their hands over the person and not touch them. Perfectly fine. In the state of Connecticut, if you are a medical professional, you are allowed to place your hands on somebody because you are a medical professional. But even with that, even though I'm a registered nurse in the state of Connecticut, I still let people know I practice hands-on for Reiki. If you'd rather I didn't, you need to let me know. There's only two places I do not put my hand on, and that is the heart chakra, because it's basically under the breast, and that might be uncomfortable for the person. So that I do hover over. The root, because the root is right there over the symphysis, the pubis bone, I hover over. Otherwise, the rest, my hands are on the body. But there are hand placements. All the hand placements mean is what you're doing is you're taking this universal light energy, you're focusing it in one particular area. You're bringing that universal light and you are healing that one area. To be clear, and this is the difference between Ms. Takata and Dr. Usui, trained masters. Dr. Usui, trained masters know it's drowned into our head, right, Peggy? This is not your energy. It has nothing to do with you. It's not your energy that's healing. You are not healing this person. You are the conduit. You're helping guide with an understanding. But you got to, I tell people all the time, they say, oh, I healed this person with Reiki. You didn't do anything. That's ego. There's no place for ego in Reiki. Reiki is about love and wanting to give love and healing back. That's what Reiki is about. Ms. Takata is the one that taught classes and people that, again, only certain people can do it. And that it's, there's got to be a thing that you need to be paid for because you were so wonderful, because you were able to heal. So I am taking the universal light energy that's free. It's around us all the time. I'm visualizing and I'm bringing it down to the body. That's all I'm doing. And I'm focusing it as I breathe, and I'm focusing it and I'm visualizing it spreading up and around across the body, down deep inside the body to where the organ is, bathing the body, visualization and attention. Remember I said that before. So there are hand placements. The hand placements usually go with the chakras. But I also, and I know Peggy has, if I see that somebody's got a bad shoulder, which is not a chakra, I will take the light and I will put my hands in here and I will focus the light into the bone, into the bursa, into the shoulder blade, into wherever it has to go. So hand placements, because people usually ask me, well, what do they need? That's all it means. I'm sure you've heard of symbols. Symbols in Japanese are called kenshis. We call them symbols. That's all they are. But they do mean something. And so one of them is shokurei. And shokurei means to put the power here. And we do it in the beginning and the end of Reiki. So we do, okay, you can do it with me? All right, ready? So, and again, this is okay. This is not a class, but we do the shokurei 3 times. Shokurei, shokurei, shokurei. You can do it with your full hand. You can do it with your finger. You can do it with your mind. But it means put the power here. So we do that in the beginning of the session. So we're opening them up so we can place the power, the energy here. And then we do it again backwards. Shokurei, shokurei, to hold it all in, hold it all that healing that we just were a part of. Okay. So that's the first one. That's the power symbol. The next symbol is called Rei-Ki. And Rei-Ki is that balance and harmony that I was telling you about. And Rei-Ki, you'll see what I'm gonna do with my finger. Okay. So Rei-Ki is a little awesome. It comes like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, and then over, down, and then a big humpback and two little fins. So if you're doing it really fast like that, that's Rei-Ki. So Rei-Ki just means balance and harmony. I use that on everybody all the time. I use it on myself because we all can use balance and harmony. But what that symbol does is it goes to that pineal gland that I was telling you about in the occipital lobe back here. Everybody needs balance and harmony. Everybody needs peace. And when I do that symbol, Rei-Ki, people will say, I feel like I'm going to go to sleep. I feel so relaxed and calm. I just feel so drowsy. It's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. When I teach, and when Peggy and I teach Reiki 1, you are not supposed to learn any hand symbols. Peggy and I do teach the Quackery and the Rei-Ki in Reiki 1, only because as masters, we can make the determination. I would like people starting out fresh to understand what these things are and start using them on their own self-care. So we do teach that in Reiki 1. Now, when Reiki 2 comes along, you learn something that's called the distance Reiki. That's what we were talking, which allows you to do distance Reiki to other people. And that's Hojo Jijonen. I talked about that before. Sounds French, but it's not. And basically, that's all it means is distance. You're sending the light through the distance. You're sending the light out to where it needs to heal. That's all that means. That I would do the symbol for you right now because the screen is so. There you go. And that's with my finger. Don't get caught up on it. Okay, so anyway, and then last but not least, the other symbol is called Diakameo. And Diakameo is the master symbol. So when Peggy and I became masters after, what did it take us, 3.5, 4 years, Peggy, to get up there, the levels? We finally got our Diakameo. And that is the symbol that the master gives in their classes to their students on all the levels at the end of what's called an attunement. That allows the knowledge from the master to go to the student and allows the student to be able to use that knowledge to go forth to self-heal, heal their pets, things like that. In Reiki 1, when you become a Reiki 1 practitioner, and again, this is Dr. Usui's method, not Miss Takata. Okay, we don't like her. In Dr. Usui's method in teaching, Reiki 1 is really all about learning about energy, learning about the energy that's around you, appreciating life, appreciating others' existence who may be different than you, seeing people and things for as they truly are, not how we've been taught to see them, and learning how to use Reiki on yourself to heal yourself, close friends, and I mean very close, family members and your pets. You cannot start a business. Reiki 2, after you've done 1.5 years of training with Reiki 1, Reiki 2 then allows you to go out and branch out further and give Reiki to people that you don't know, and it allows you to start a business. And then, of course, Reiki 3, or ART, as they call it, Advanced Reiki Training, allows you to teach the classes. So I feel 2 things in my life, I've said it for a long time. Everybody who's driving should be CPR certified and know Reiki 1. Even if you don't go any further, everybody should know CPR and everybody should be able to do Reiki 1. Everybody should be able to heal themselves. And, you know, I think that that's just common sense. So again, so the different Reikis levels we talked about level 1, 2, and 3. So when Reiki 1, Peggy, do you remember this? I was telling somebody they thought it was full blown. I love nature. I appreciate nature. I appreciate the existence of everything on this planet. But I don't really want to be kissing bugs. Okay, some people like it. Well, our Reiki master, Sensei, who we learned Reiki 1, made us hug a tree. So here's Peggy and the other girls in our class, and they're hugging a tree, just hugging away. And I'm like, but there's bugs. There's a bug. And I couldn't get past that until I finally did, because she wasn't going to let me stop until I did. And I do it now. Peggy, I know Peggy does it. We walk barefoot in the grass, right, Peggy? And it's a way of life. And we hug trees. You can literally hear the heartbeat of the tree. And I'm not talking about if you put your ear up against the tree, you can hear the wave way up in the top of the. This is a whoosh, 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 whoosh. It's a heartbeat of the tree. It's like nothing. I can't even. Can you describe it, Peggy? I can't describe it. You can lay down on the ground and put your ear to the ground, and you can feel and hear the movement, not only in the soil but in the ground and what's inside the mountain, the rocks and stuff inside. You can feel the earth move. You can literally feel. Peggy and I and other people are very sensitive to energy, which is also you. You just don't know what you're looking for. Can feel the shifts in the sun and in the moon. Can feel the shifts in the water, in the breeze, in the ground. We can feel it, and you got to be very sensitive to it. And I will tell you, sometimes it's a little freaky, right, Peg? I mean, be honest, a little freaky sometimes. But honestly, it's cool. It's cool. Everybody else is like, "What are you looking at? Didn't you just feel the ground move?" Anyway, it's awesome. You also can start to feel your loved ones who have passed away. You can start to feel them around you and converse with them and feel their touch and everything else, which is awesome in itself. Changes in the weather. You can better understand your body, to be able to feel what's going on in your body, the changes going on in your body, to understand what those changes are and what they mean, and to be able to jump on it really quick to get the best health benefit you possibly can is, to me, there's just nothing better than that. And you learn different things, like, and I guess what I learned is a lot like other people. You learn love. I mean, we all say love, I love you, love, love, love. But the truest meaning of love and the truest meaning of life, it's not that we get up in the morning, we say hello, we pack up the kids' lunches, we get in the car, and we go to work. The truest meaning of life itself, our existence here and where we are in this place. It's very deep. You learn your purpose. You learn to do things with purpose, and you learn about the purpose that you have in life to others and the purpose of how to treat others. And reflections on things that maybe you never thought of before and how you can do it better, reflections of how you can better yourself and other people's lives around you, and absolute peace. Now, I'm going to say that, and people who know me, Sandy knows me, and I was warned by Cynthia to watch my mouth, but I can get angry, I can get nasty, I can get hot-headed, I can fly off the handle, right, Peggy? I can have bad days, I can be mad at the world. And people are like, "But you're a Reiki master, you can't do it." No, I'm still a human being, okay? So finding peace and thoughtfulness and all that other stuff is wonderful. And I practice it 90% of the time. But then there's the human side of me that will just, and I think everybody in the planet is just a jerk, But I'm able to quickly bring myself back and center myself and not allow it to devour me. And that, I think, is what's most important, because people say that all the time. "Sydney, you were so upset the other day and you're a Reiki master." I'm like, uh-huh. So the Reiki principle, this is how I'm going to end tonight. And I want you guys, you can start this anyway, but everybody should start with intentions. And in Reiki, we learn about the thing it's called the Reiki principle. And you start it every day. It's called Just for Today. So, one of the mantras is, and you can add anything. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will be grateful. I will do my work honorably, and I will be kind to all living things. Just for today. Just for today, I won't call somebody a jerk. Just for today, I won't think somebody's stupid. I mean, you can, this is me. This is what I do. Okay, just for today. Okay, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. None of us do. So why worry about it? Why bring on extra stress on ourselves? The day is going to happen. What's going to happen is going to happen. So this is very important, to set your intention in the morning. Just for today. Just for today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just for today, you're going to try not to be angry. Just doing these little things is going to change your life in big ways, because you will find yourself being able to handle situations better, see people in different lights, maybe have a little more patience for people that usually you normally don't have patience for. So tomorrow is unknown. We can't worry about it or project what we think is going to happen. So Last thing I'm going to say is, because people always ask me, is what does namaste mean? Well, namaste is a greeting. It can mean hello, goodbye, whichever. But most commonly in Reiki, it means the light in me sees the light in you. In other words, my light respects your light. I respect you for being a person just like myself, with wants and feelings and desires and opinions. My light sees your life, and I recognize it. Remember before I said like, likes, like. So I don't know if you got any handouts with stones or rocks or anything like that, if Cynthia gave it to you, but this is when I usually talk about that. So if you have the paper with the stones and the rocks on it, I have to pull up mine, excuse me. When I talk about like, likes, like, there's a lot of things you can do to heal yourself when we teach about it in Reiki, but one of the simplest things to do is to use stones. And stones are natural healing properties because, again, they have the same minerals and content that we have. The phosphorus and the nitrogen and the calcium and zinc and all that stuff we have in our cells. So like, likes, like, anything that complements us because it's like us is going to heal us. It's no different than going down and sitting at the beach and feeling the warm sun, or to listening to a babbling brook. And it's things like that. While you're getting your papers, if you don't have them, when I do my aura presentations or the aura consultations, and I tell people what their aura color is, excuse me a second, there we go. I always tell people what their aura color is, and I explain to them what their aura color means. Your aura color is biologically you. It can't be anybody else, and it tells a lot about you, not only your personality and your traits and your characteristics, but what kind of health problems you are predisposed to having. So things you should watch for, like cancer or pancreatic cancer, and or say problems with reproduction or mood disorders or depression, whatever happens to be. So one of the ways of doing this is use things that are like, likes, like. So blues, Peggy's a blue. I'm going to use her quickly. Blue is empathetic. Blue is gut intuitive. They feel the energy around them, the flow, the things, the sense of people, and the awareness in their gut. Their gut just tells them something's wrong. And people like Peggy, who are very honed into it, knows how to react right away. Usually she gets away. She runs as fast as she can. Because people are bad for you. Certain aura colors are not good for your aura color. Certain places and situations are not good for your aura color. So if you know this stuff and you can avoid it, it's going to make you healthy. So stones are huge because, again, like, likes, like. So on the paper, if you all have it, and I'm not going to talk about all these because you can take the paper home with you, but you have, let me see, where is my start? My stars. Okay. So aventurine, I don't have one here, but again, it's believed to be, it's a positive stone for prosperity and diffusing negative emotions and reinforcing relationships, promoting compassion, encouraging. Let me explain to you how this works and how they know this. It's very scientific. When we take our stone, and right here I have a red jasper. Here, if you can see it. When I take it and I put it lightly in my hand, or my hand chakra, okay, if I put it right here, you never want to choke a stone. Energy has to flow. If anything you put here on a very thin area of your skin, after a few minutes, it starts to sweat under there. You may not feel the sweat, you may not have water there, but you start, the little pores open up. When the pores open up, your little venules under the skin, little veins, little venules, start to dilate. And then they dilate and the veins dilate. And then you get the flushing of the arteries and they start to dilate. All this flushing increases the blood flow and increases your sweat. And all it does is the sweat is interacting with the minerals in the stone, same minerals that you have in your sweat. And it's causing a relaxation. It's hitting the dopamine receptor that's in your pineal gland with all this flushing, the vasodilation of the vessels. It's causing dopamine dumping, and it causes relaxation. That's how stones work. Certain stones for certain people. So if you look at your paper here, as I said, this is just a listing for you of what these types of stones do. The white turquoise, I actually have one right here. I use this for consoling if I'm very, very sad. I don't know if you can see it. Right here, it's white turquoise. If I'm very sad, if I feel like that, I'm not being able to protect myself enough, I'm not able to really give myself all I need. I can't be all I can be, is basically what I'm trying to say. I use that. This right here, I don't know if you can see it, is an amethyst. It's one of my amethysts. And it's great for creativity. It's great if you're wanting to have a day where you got to get a project done, or if you want to really open up your third eye, you really want to think really well. The amethyst is really good for that. The turquoise, I don't have a turquoise here, unfortunately. Again, luck, peace, protection, wisdom, tranquility, things like that. The red gravel or the red quartz, I don't have one of those either. Okay, love, passion, romance, warmth, especially good for greens. Now, hopefully there's no green here on our presentation because I don't do well with greens, but they are good stones for a person that has a green aura. The yellow tiger eye, I do have that right here. It looks more brown to you, but it's definitely a yellow tiger eye. I use that a lot just before I do a presentation, just before if I'm out in public and I have to speak, because it's a confidence builder. It works really well with your third eye, and it helps you to be able to see things as they truly are. You know, how well are people being receptive to you? How well are you doing overall presenting your material? It also helps you relax and calm down and gives you a little more confidence. That's why I like to use it. The rose quartz, which is right here, it's a big one that I have right here. It's unconditional love. And let me tell you something. For people with depression or people going through sadness or a recent loss or PTSD or anything like that, this is phenomenal. Inside the quartz, besides the quartz, there's a lot of sodium. There's a lot of salt and nitrate. Salt and nitrate is what we are mostly made of besides water. Okay, so it mimics our own cells. It calms like nobody's business. I tell people to lay down, take it, and just put it on their chest and just breathe. Or if they got a headache, lay down, put it on their head, and just breathe. The rose quartz is great for all over emotional healing, getting over things, sadness, like I said, even main big stressors, big, huge stressors. So those are just a few of the stones right there. And again, if you take the paper with you, do you have to know which stone's best for your aura color? You know, I'd have to see you to tell you your aura color, but what I can tell you is just about anybody does really well with a turquoise and with the rose, I can't talk, with the rose quartz and with a tiger eye. Those are like interchangeably for everybody, regardless of aura color. So with that being said, and I'm going to take questions in a minute, if anybody's interested in having a Reiki class, learning Reiki Level 1, if you've never done it before, I do have one coming up on June 25th. Peggy and I do, excuse me, Peggy. It's going to be about 3.5 hours. It is in my location, my house in Madison. I am also doing it Zoom because there's some people who can't make it here to the house, so I will do it both. Because I haven't been able with COVID to do these classes in a while in person, there is a special rate. It's drastically discounted for the one time. But anyway, if you want information, please email me and let me know. June 25th at 9:30. It requires you purchasing a $20 book. The book is Reiki Level 1, 2 class. So if you ever decide to go on, you'll already have the book. But it's very interesting. It teaches a lot. If you're interested in having Reiki, I don't know where any of you live. I mean, it's libraries in East Haven. Peggy lives in Cheshire. I'm in Madison. And or I'm sure you can find somebody in your area who does Reiki. Just please, I would ask them straight out, are you a Dr. Sui lineage or Miss Takata? Miss Takata, I'd find somebody else. And I'm going to tell you, because I have people come to me for Reiki all the time who are Reiki 1 and 2 practitioners trained under the Takata lineage, and they don't know a lot. And they say, where'd you learn how to do that? What does this mean? So, you know, when you go for anything, you want to know the best, you need to know the right way. So Peggy and I are, because we are students of the Dr. Usui class, we are in his direct lineage. And anybody who we train becomes the Dr. Usui lineage. So if you're interested, let us know. Distance Reiki can always be given through distance also. So if any of you are all having a problem, you may message me or Peggy. We can send you some distance Reiki. That's not a problem. If you're interested in an aura consultation, I'm doing those in person again. You know, email me, let me know. And I think I covered everything, including 2 PowerPoints. I think I should get a prize. I'm done talking. Who's got questions? Where is Cynthia?
Hey Sydney, it's Jill. How are you?
Oh, hi, how are you?
Good. I was wondering, I have a bad knee. I ripped my meniscus and it's affecting my whole body. Now my gait is wrong, my foot is killing me, my back. So it's causing, stress throughout the body. And they just want to operate, which I don't want to do because I have arthritis. Is there a stone that I could put on my knee and have it attract some sort of, what do you suggest?
Without being able to actually see it, if it's an injury of like a joint, which the meniscus is the tendon, I would try
doing yoga. I ripped it doing yoga.
See,
Exercising, trying to stay healthy. I wrecked my knee.
so, I'm gonna, first of all, jade, I would go with jade because jade is about, gets into like the healing, the tissues of the body. And that would technically be a tissue of the body.
I have jade.
Okay, so take the jade. But what I want you to do is put it on the knee, cup your hand over it. Let's just say this is your knee right here.
Yeah.
Okay, you put it on and then cup your hand, never with a flat hand, always cup your hand. Visualize like a white snowball underneath your hand. And as you're breathing, you're inhaling in, and when you're visualizing that light going down into your whole knee and just developing in this wonderful white light, right? And do that several times. You could also just take your hands. What I tell everybody all the time, if you ever want to feel Reiki, if you want to feel energy, take your hands and just put them together like this for a couple, like a minute and a half.
I felt it. Yeah.
And you'll feel it. And there's your energy. Like it almost feels like a magnet repelling them together. And this gets very, very warm, very, very warm in here. Take your hand, bring it down and hold it. Always cup.
Right. Intention
and focus and intent your down there. And then the nurse side of me would also like you to go back and forth between ice and heat, but don't forget about the back of the leg, the back of the knee. Everybody always wants to put stuff right here. The back of the knee, especially with meniscus, is where most of the swelling actually is, and that's where most of the fluid will deposit itself.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So
much.
try that. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
I will tell you, if it is a true full tear, this stuff will help with pain relief, but it's not going to go away on its own.
Yeah. No,
sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. I mean, I got to be the rational nurse part too, right? Hi.
I just sent everybody who's on Zoom, I emailed everybody the handout. I apologize. I forgot about it, but I did just email it to everybody. So you all should have it in your email inbox. I apologize. So the handout on stones is there.
I think that's okay. Does anybody else in the room there have questions?
Anyone else have questions or anybody on? Oh.
I was born like this, so I'm pickleball, but I'm seeing a doctor and physical therapy.
I just had a question in terms of energy, because I believe that about the energy, when I go, my energy is going to be here. And so is everybody else's. And that's what we have as a universe. But most of us don't turn in to the energy of others that are maybe here. Like my granddaughter said when my mother died, she's still in the house, Ma. I said, well, if she's here, I don't see her or feel her, nor do I want to see her or feel her. So, she's gone and that's it. I opened the window and her energy left, let her go where she wants to. But in all kidding aside, is your energy so weak? Can energy be so weak that you really can't feel the energy of the people around you or what's left of their energy?
Your energy does not become weak. Your ability to sense the things that are going on around you, that's what becomes weak. So your ability to perceive things that you should readily perceive that gets damaged. Those areas that I was talking about, they become damaged. So it's not your energy getting weaker. It's actually those organs or those systems that have been, not cared for, and they get very boggy and they can't think. So that's what happens. It's not your energy. Your energy doesn't become weakened.
Like what you're saying, but you can train yourself. You can train yourself to feel it.
Oh, everybody can, but you got to honestly, you have to get yourself in a better place. You can't be stressed and have all sorts. You can't have a damaged aura. You can't have a damaged body that has all sorts of things going on with it. And think you're going to perceive things appropriately. So you need some self-healing. You need some self-love. And it doesn't take much. And once you get that nice flow going again, your body does what it's supposed to do naturally, which is naturally hear, see, smell, and feel things that go outside of our normal visual field. Because we're supposed to do that, but we're all just too stressed. And when you're stressed, I don't know if you've sat in on my aura presentations, when you're stressed, your body releases a whole bunch of serotonin and ephedrine. Serotonin and ephedrine, those are the fight or flight, right? And so what it does is it's very toxic to the body and toxic to the brain. In small doses, every once in a while, situationally, it's fine because dopamine flushes it and cleans it all out. But when you're constantly stressed for whatever situation, and some things people don't even realize are stressors, you're constantly releasing that ephedrine and adrenaline, and it bogs down the brain and it slows that flow to where you just can't function normally. Your vitals don't function normally. Your organs don't function normally anymore. And that's when disease sets in. I think that's probably a better explanation of why you can't sense them. It's not your energy. It's your inability to be able to perceive things because of the flow being slowed down.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Anybody else? Claire, Kelly, Sheila, Sandy, Cynthia?
Muscle tension. How do you deal with shoulder pain and like muscle tension and all that in your upper back and shoulders and neck?
Well, deep breathing is one of the best muscle relaxers you can do if you breathe appropriately. So it's the breathing through your nose for like the count of 4 or 5 or 10, whatever you can do. Holding it like a roller coaster for a second, and then make the sound. Your exhalation, your breathing out should be longer than your breathing in. Shoulders should be relaxed. And you do that a couple of times, and it triggers the dopamine production in that pineal gland, and it relaxes the tense muscles. It's the best muscle relaxant out there. So the deep breathing would be good. I also, for you, would get a green or jade, because again, jade is good for tissues and muscles and stuff like that. You don't have to put it on your back. Again, put it in your hand, hold it nice and lightly in your hand, and visualize your hand being your back and your neck. Take your other hand like you're giving it Reiki and bring it down, just a visualization of it, and focus it as it comes down your back. That can help as well. That's the best I can tell you right now, or go have some Reiki.
Yeah.
But everybody can give themselves Reiki. They just know how to do it. So. Anybody else? Sandy, you got anything for me? No.
Nope.
Claire?
Yep.
Anybody else in the room?
Someone here has a question. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
How are you? Good. How are you?
Good. I keep a white quartz rock, rather large, by my door, with hopes that it would purify some of the energies that I take with me from the day, like, for example, grocery shopping, negative energies.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And
Well,
then
you know what, there's
going out too.
Well, white quartz is good for cleaning, renewing, cleaning things up and casting them out. Keeping it by your door, there's nothing, it's not going to harm anything, and it will help, cleanse the air as comes through the house. But you probably should keep something on you personally, so when you're in the grocery store, this stuff isn't even getting a chance to affect you. Again, without knowing what your aura color is, it's kind of hard for me to direct. But probably, like I said, like an amethyst would probably good to keep with
Yes,
you.
and I do have quite a bit of that. That's a good suggestion, wearing it
Yeah.
when I go grocery shopping or errands post office.
Yeah, I keep stones on me all the time. I even have them in my pants pocket, or I keep one on the bed next to my head, my bed. And I just, again, I set the intention, okay, I'm going to Stop and Shop now. There's a whole bunch of crazies out there. So you're in my pants pocket, just keep the flow going so nothing gets in here at me. So yeah, that's great. I like the stone idea at the doorway. That's actually pretty cool.
Great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
I have a question that doesn't really deal with Reiki, but do you know what EFT tapping is?
EFT tapping?
Yes.
I don't believe I do.
Okay, well, okay, check it out, and it seems like it would go hand in hand with Reiki, because what it does is it moves energy. So it's tapping on certain meridian points,
Yeah.
and they use it for stress, anxiety, anger, phobias, things like that. So when you're talking about Reiki here, because I never really understood it, it's almost like it would seem like it was a miracle if the two were put together, because there's the tapping and the Reiki, and they're both going after certain points to move the energy or attract energy.
All right, so let me see if I got a pen here. So that's called, what is it?
EFT tapping.
You know,
So
EFT.
it's emotional freedom technique, but it's called EFT, and it's based on moving the energy.
Okay.
Focus.
Do you know what EFT stands for?
Emotional freedom technique.
Oh, okay. I just wrote that down. Oh, yeah, I could have probably seen that. Okay, I'm gonna look at that tonight. I'm
No,
gonna
look it up,
Google-
because it's kind of cool with the moving of, because I've been looking more and more into that, and it's moving energy to clear up other things,
Okay.
you know?
And the meridians are also part of Reiki also, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so it's the crown, it's here, here,
Yep.
here.
It's a lot of the same places that they do acupuncture on. So it's all one thing. It's all the same thought process. So
Yeah. Or
So
they
I'm
all
definitely-
build off of each other.
yes,
That's
absolutely.
cool.
So I'm definitely gonna look into that. Thank you. Never heard of that before.
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am.
It's, I think it's to focus your energy when you're, distracted, and then you can tap like parts of your body, your chest, your arms, it's a way to do like meditate almost.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about what Sandy was just explaining to me.
Yeah, like it's
okay.
tapping. I've seen it in meditation classes. They do it. It's like focus.
Well, you know what? Like I said, if it's something that has to do with energy, I'm all on board with it. So
Yeah. So pain, you mentioned pain. So are there any other gemstones for pain? To relieve pain or?
again, they usually go along with your aura color. One compliment. Let me ask you,
You said I was brown.
thank you, Claire. Oh, have I seen you before?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I especially now, the camera looks awful blurry now that everybody's coming up to it. When you guys are back there, it didn't
You
look
said I
blurry.
was a light brown.
Well, if I told you your color, then that's what you are. I can't see it here, so well, then that helps me. For like general pain, general body
Yeah,
aches.
like stress, shoulders, like she was talking about stress in your shoulders or knee pain.
Okay, so if it's an overall general one, I would go with a moss agate.
Okay,
Moss, it's kind of like a pretty yellow blue
Yes.
color.
I know it. Yeah.
And citrine is very good also. Citrine is what they call, does anybody remember when we were kids, moms used to use what's called Fell's naphtha soap to get stains out of clothes? It really was
Yes.
lye.
Yes,
It was
yes.
lye, so it was burning their knuckles with lye, right? And that's what citrine kind of is. It's like the deep cleaner to get rid of the junk and the gunk and the stuff like that. So that's a good way to think of it.
Okay, thank you.
So-
And how do you focus? How do you, because you're a master at focusing your energy.
No,
What's
I
the-
get like,
have to
oh,
clear your
shiny
mind.
objects. It takes practice, but
Yeah.
what you gotta do is you gotta realize that when you break your focus, it's okay. It's okay. Blaming yourself for saying, I can't do this or getting frustrated, because I do it all the time. I'll be in the middle of focusing and all of a sudden I'll be like, did I tell my husband to put cream on the grocery list? And you can't, that's just how our lives are. So you
Yeah.
just gotta say, geez, I don't know, did I? I'll have to think about that. And then you go right back to it. Don't make a big deal about it. You can do it, but know you're gonna be interrupted and it's okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're the best.
Oh, stop. Thank you. Sandy's getting a kick out of this. Who else?
Thank you,
Anybody?
Thank you,
Oh,
thank you.
oh, are you done? Are we done, Cynthia?
I guess everybody's all set. Everyone has any questions before we, how about anybody on there? Is everybody good or?
Claire said no, thank you, Sherman doesn't have a microphone. Sandy, unless Sandy had another question, she told me about that lovely tapping thing. Peggy can talk to me anytime. Then there's
All
you
right.
and the lovely people in the background.
All right, well, I think we're good. Thank you so much, Sydney. Thank you, thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful
Thank you.
presentation as usual. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you all hopefully in person soon.
Yes, definitely, yes,
Yep.
we'll talk. We will
Take
talk.
care. Bye, Sandy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.